Welcome, everyone. I'm Cheryl Kaminsky, Executive Director, and I wanted to thank you all for joining us at our Evening of Gratitude, commemorating 10 years of the Children's Hunger Project serving Brevard County children. We are excited, so excited that you could be with us. It's so befitting for me to be here in this room at St. John the Evangelist on this evening, as this is the very room that I first heard of the Children's Hunger Project almost 5 years ago. Father Brad was the pastor at the time, and I was in attendance at a Council of Catholic Women's meeting. As it is with most people, it was shocking to me to find out that there are hungry children here in our beautiful Brevard County, that over 50% of our children are on the free and reduced lunch program. I began volunteering at the office for the Children's Hunger Project, and I quickly became passionate about our cause. Imagine the horror that it is to hear stories like children not wanting to go home on the school bus on Fridays because they know that there is no food for them for the weekend. Or that a dad is living in a storage unit with his 3 kids because there's no place else to go, and his kids need our food to help for the weekend. Or a mom who has left an abusive relationship with her 3 children and $200 in her pocket. Or that another guidance counselor is calling our office, pleading for more weekend food for students in her school. Or a little girl whose mom works hard to support her family, but there's extended family living with them as well. An aunt, an uncle, 3 cousins, and mom is the only one who's working. So sometimes the little girl goes to bed hungry at night. The Children's Hunger Project offers hope to these children, the innocent ones caught up in tough situations. And we hear of the appreciation and relief to all of these kids. We hear of the results that a small package of food provides to a child's well-being and self-esteem, and are thrilled to hear how years later, the children that have received our weekend nutrition are doing well and graduating from high school and giving back to the community and other children that were in those same shoes that they were when they were younger. There is nothing like hearing from a parent who had come upon hard times, had received our assistance, and now is back on their feet and giving back to us. Tonight is not about a glitzy award show with trophies for all and a lot of entertainment, although I do enjoy hearing Sheriff Ivy tell his stories about how donuts are really power rings. We are humbled by what we have to do. We have to provide basic nutrition to the children of our county. We began 10 years ago at one school feeding 27 children. We are currently serving 45 elementary schools and over 2,000 children weekly, while the need continues to increase. Tonight, it's about taking a moment during this busy and uncertain time to just say thank you to all that help us to feed the innocent children of our community, and to share the stories that make us all the Children's Hunger Project. It is because so many stories like this that was mentioned previously that it all began 10 years ago. Here to join us tonight is a gentleman, our founder, who had the insight, the dedication, the desire, and drive to start us all on this journey to help feed our hungry children. Let me introduce you to Mr. Bob Barnes.
Thank you for the nice words earlier by Father John. There's so many people to thank, I almost don't know where to start, but I want to thank, although he's not here this evening, Father Brad, who years ago saw the value of our efforts. I thank, of course, Father John. He's worked tirelessly to assure our success. And I thank the congregation of St. John the Evangelist Catholic Community for hosting this wonderful evening of gratitude. This congregation's members were some of the first volunteers of the Children's Hunger Project. They informed Father Brad, who, with Father John, embraced as a community our mission of addressing the number of hungry kids here in Brevard County. St. John the Evangelist Catholic community has been one of our strongest supporters, both in faith and thankfully in real dollars also. And I thank Cheryl Kaminsky. What a terrific woman, our executive director. She's the one who has enabled this to happen tonight. But what you may not know is that she was a terrific representative of this church and a volunteer at our charity for years before she joined our staff, and now she's the boss. The story of the founding of the Children's Hunger Project is one of being guided by angels. By mere coincidence, just a coincidence, I happened to hear Nancy Grace interview a fellow on CNN many years ago, a fellow named Stan Curtis. And Stan was the founder of a charity in Louisville, Kentucky. And when I heard the words, children hunger, I switched back immediately as I was flipping through, because I was stunned to hear that there were hungry kids in America. And I was ashamed at the same time. The politically correct wording is kids with food insecurity. But damn it, these kids are not food insecure, they are hungry. My apologies for some fool wrote that down and I just followed along. I had spent my entire life not realizing that kids were going hungry in America. And when I got into examining this here in Brevard County, I realized that Brevard County, not a poor county by any stretch of the imagination, had many kids that were going hungry right here in our own backyard. So with a partnership of some poker buddies and friends, Sam Jordan, Johnny Clark, and David Cohn, the Children's Hunger Project was born. 10 years ago today, we became official as a Florida not-for-profit corporation. And from the beginning, we've been guided by angels. The event tonight, thanks to our wonderful host, Father John, and this congregation, is a true testament to the goodness of the people in Brevard County who have stepped up to help our hungry kids. This event also is to recognize over 6 Brevard religious congregations that have steadfastly supported the Children's Hunger Project. But this event tonight is also to recognize a real live angel, Bruce Nelson Jr. and the Bruce Nelson family, who have not only been strong supporters, but they have provided us with a car dealership-sized building that we use as our headquarters in Cocoa. And some years ago, we dedicated the building as the Bruce Nelson Child Hunger Center to honor the senior Bruce Nelson, who had passed away some years earlier. Now, he may be gone in body, but the spirit of love and giving that he and his wife passed on to their children certainly lives on through their support of Candlelighters of Brevard and the Children's Hunger Project. And without the support of the Nelson family, I'm not sure where we would be today. This event is also to recognize Brian Price, an angel who owns the Jersey Mike sub franchises throughout Brevard County, by the way, the best subs in town. Brian Price chose the Children's Hunger Project as his charity of choice during the parent company's annual month of giving each year. And how appropriate is it to recognize his company that sells food and also gives money to buy food for those that cannot afford to eat at one of his restaurants. This event is also to recognize an organization with a similar name to ours called Project Hunger. Project Hunger has raised a tremendous amount of money that has enabled us to provide packages of food for kids in the summer. Dolores Spearman, Dick Bagley, Darcia Francie, Bunny Finney, Johnny Swan, and so many financial supporters of Project Hunger, their charity, have made a tremendous difference in the lives of children through our charity. And no recognition of supporters would be complete without the deepest sense of appreciation to Rob Raines, an angel that heads United Way. Rob recognized early on what we were doing even before we asked United Way for support, and he made sure that United Way was on the ground floor of the Children's Hunger Project. And Rob, along with Elizabeth Lee, made sure their help would help our charity succeed. And to those I mentioned, and to those that time does not allow me to publicly thank, please know that you have a special place in our hearts and enjoy a special privilege of knowing you are helping kids you don't even know. So why is helping hungry kids so important? Well, you already understand that to succeed in life, you must have a good education. And to get a good education, you need a good foundation. And what's the foundation of a good education? Well, some think it's good schools or good teachers. Dr. Mullen, our honored guest here tonight, would think that, but it goes a little further upstream. Good schools and good teachers are, of course, critical to a child's success in learning. But the basic foundation for a good education, before we even get to those good teachers and the good schools, is nutrition. It's food. Without food and nutrition, no child can succeed in school. So I want to take this opportunity to also thank School Superintendent Dr. Mark Mullins, who has been one of our strongest supporters from the very beginning, almost from day one. The Brevard Public Schools, under his brilliant leadership, does a terrific job of providing a free breakfast and a free lunch every school day. But you see, that's only a portion of the nutritional needs of a growing child. On weekends, that breakfast and lunch doesn't exist. So thank God for the benefit of food provided by the Children's Hunger Project. Each Friday, as a result of us raising money, as a result of St. John's and dozens of other congregations' generosity, as a result of hundreds of volunteers packing the food, teachers put our food into the backpacks of children as they leave for the weekend. And this is repeated every single week at the schools that Cheryl mentioned, close to 50 of them here in Brevard County. The food is received by over 2,000 kids that otherwise might not have enough food for the weekend. So how do we know kids are going hungry on weekends? Well, we know because many teachers and others within the educational system tell us so. On Friday afternoon, as they wave goodbye to their students, teachers know those students who will probably not have proper nutrition over the weekend. The teachers know which students come to school hungry on Monday mornings. Teachers know that without proper nutrition, their jobs are much more difficult because poor nutrition leads to a weaker immune system, increased hospitalization rates and doctor visits, difficulty in learning, and paying attention in class. Hungry kids are sick more often, and hungry kids have lower academic performance. But I'm not here to discuss social issues, the parents' lifestyle, or what the responsibility should be to their children. We don't have enough time for that. All I know is that many kids in Brevard County go hungry at weekends. Now, the concept for solving this problem is so simple, it's amazing, and we've been proving it for 10 years. So what do you and the rest of Brevard County get in return for what hundreds of volunteers do at the Children's Hunger Project? Well, educators all over the country recognize that students who participate in this type of a program have shown improvement in school attendance, better test scores, improved reading skills, positive behavior, improved health, and everything else you can imagine that goes hand in hand with healthy children getting a good education. And with a good education comes fewer discipline problems, improved self-esteem, less jail time ultimately. In other words, success. Allow me to share with you a true story that a teacher told about something that happened in the teacher's class. It was a Thanksgiving week some years ago. The teacher asked each student to stand and tell the class what they were thankful for. Well, the usual responses were offered for most of the kids except one. This child was in the weekend food package program, the only one in her class who was. So what are we thankful for? Well, for most of us, it's our faith, our place of worship, our country. For others, it's the material things that we possess, a nice suit, nice dress, nice car. For others, it can simply be the blessing of having our health and our family. But this child said that what she was thankful for was the food she got each Friday so that she wouldn't be hungry on the weekends. Are you kidding me? We're in the United States of America, for God's sakes. Children not being able to take food for granted. I still can't come to grips with children who find having enough food so unusual that it stands out as something special to be thankful for on Thanksgiving. She was thankful for the food that she got each Friday so that she would not be hungry on the weekends. And while tonight marks our 10th anniversary, I find it disgusting that a charity like ours even has to exist. Our charity exists, for whatever reason, because kids are coming to school hungry on Monday mornings. How could that be in our country? How could that be in our own backyard? Well, it doesn't matter how it can be. It only matters that it is, and with your help and God's blessing, we are addressing the problem. Now, all that I have talked about this evening, I casually attributed to a coincidental viewing of a TV show, as if God had nothing to do with it. Well, God had everything to do with it. And I thank God for guiding me to that TV interview. And I thank God for sending so many angels in human form to help us. And I thank God for my partners and the hundreds that have supported our efforts through the years. Father John, thank you so much for this wonderful evening and for all you have done with your congregation members to help hungry kids. To those viewing and those in our audience, I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for supporting the Children's Hunger Project. Thank you. And now I believe we have one of the more charming women that I know. I won't go any further because she's got a very strong husband who's sitting here at the table, but she's a dynamo. She's chair of the board of the Children's Hunger Project. She's one of the premier attorneys in town. Don't listen to any of those TV ads that you see. You call Karen Montas of Johnson Law, and she'll get you a good payback. Please, I'm so thrilled to have her. She's been with us for so many years. Come on, Mom.
Yeah, I need to have you just walk ahead of me all the time. As Bob so graciously introduced, my name is Karen Montas, and I am the current chair of the Children's Hunger Project. And I've had the privilege of participating on the board for about the 10 years that it's been in existence. Bob met me at a Junior League of South Brevard event and roped me in and won me over, and I've been here ever since, and it is one of the charities that I love and support. So I get the privilege of discussing a little bit about the history of the board and then of the staff. So indulge me for a minute as I take you back. Hopefully you've seen some of the videos that bring you to the founders. There were 4 buds and a burden, is what they called themselves. And it was Bob Barnes and Sam Jordan and J.Y. Clerk and David Cohen, who was our first chair. And these guys, they saw a need, they got together and they worked to fix it. They then started bringing in other board members. I'd like to mention some of the ones that have participated and have since moved on from the board, including Malak Ahmad, David Cohen, Larry Chacha, Marcy Bratman, and Andy Ziegler. The board continued to grow. We continued to work on the mission. At one point, Bob decided to take a little bit of a step down as the executive director, and then we had Keith G., who took it from one level to the next level. Keith was with us for a number of years, and then he decided to step down, and we had Cheryl, which we're super excited about. We then continued to grow. I'm going to take a minute and focus on the current board members, some of whom are here today, and if you're here when I call your name, please stand. There are some who are watching us through the video because of the obvious COVID restrictions that some we have to deal within. So we have Shayna Marshall, Kendall Moore, Summit Shaw, Rosie Oja, Amy Boyson, Jonathan Reed, David Dishler, Michael Ballard, Summer Kalon, Ben Malik, Megan Anderson, Edna Wilson, Ryan Firth, Katie Campbell, and Dolores Spearman. This team, along with me, we meet monthly to discuss the growth and the benefit of the organization, and I have to say it is a privilege to serve alongside this team. They love the community, they love what we do, and they love the mission and the growth that we have and that we see. So thank you to each one of you for participating, and if I could ask for a round of applause for our board of directors. We also have had the privilege of some former staff members, some of whom are present here today. I do have to apologize. One of the things that I hate about getting old is I can't see very well, so I can't see past probably Bob. But I do want to take a moment, and if you're here and I call your name, these are our former staff members who I believe are present this evening. We have our former executive director, Keith G. We have Alice Healy, who was the director of operations. We have Cynthia Thompson, who is the office manager. I can kind of see Cynthia. I also want to take a quick moment and point out Lorraine Jones, who I know is here because I saw her earlier. She was on the Community Advisory Board for many years, and she is a dynamo. And so I would like a small round of applause for Miss Lorraine because she's amazing. I can't see you, so hopefully you're still here. Then I want to talk about our current staff, and for them, if they would indulge me, I would appreciate it if you guys came up here, because I want everyone here and everyone on the video to meet our staff. We could not, and I stress that in the big mom words, we could not do what we do without our staff. They're amazing, particularly during this COVID situation. We've been put in some great demands, and they have stepped up, never complaining, never balking, sometimes running to my office with small panic moments, but always doing what needed to be done to make sure that our kids were fed. And for that, we owe them just a debt of gratitude. So thank you, and I would like for them to come up as I call each one of them. So first, we have our executive director, Cheryl Kaminsky. Next, we have our office manager and grant writer, Lori Molnow. We have our community outreach and volunteer coordinator, Stacy Benezra. And our operations manager, Tammy Shelley. Folks, these ladies run the show, and so I thank you so much for all of the work that you guys do for our children. We could not, and we know it, we could not operate without you, so thank you and God bless. And Cheryl, you get to stay up here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to the staff. I could not do what I do without them. They are just wonderful, wonderful ladies. And thank you to our board of directors because they are absolutely phenomenal. We really, really have a great board and they really step up and do a lot. So as you've heard, we began 10 years ago at one school feeding 27 children. 5 years ago, we were feeding 1,300 weekly. Last year, 2019, started with providing weekend nutrition to over 2,100 children weekly in over 40 elementary schools. In 2019, we provided over 85,000 weekend food packages. This year, 2020, not only did we serve children through Brevard Public Schools, due to the pandemic, we extended our program, expanded it to include groups such as the Boys and Girls Club, the PAL groups, Club Esteem, Brevard Cares. The summertime brought additional needs, and through discussions with Housing and Human Services and our Board of County Commissioners, we expanded even further to serve needs through emergency services. We have provided over 200,000 packages of weekend nutrition in 2020. And I think we need a little vacation after all that. Through the years, we have been blessed to have the support from so many partners, as Bob mentioned, so many partners, like David Brubaker, for example, who is from the Central Brevard Sharing Center, whose truck comes every week to pick up boxes of our food to deliver to schools in Central Brevard, and continues to be a partner as we work together on our annual 5K with the goal of ending childhood hunger in Brevard County. We are blessed with partners from Project Hunger, as Bob mentioned, Dick and Bunny, Dolores and Johnny, and their desire to fill the need of solving weekend hunger in the summertime while promoting literacy and preventing the summer slide. We have been so fortunate to work alongside the United Way to provide our weekend food packets to those children in need attending Brevard summer camps through the United Way's Feed and Read program. Thank you to the United Way, and Rob Raines and Emma Reynolds are here with us tonight from the United Way. Thank you guys, we love you. We have many partners, and we are thankful for our friends at Powerhouse Planning. They have helped drive our marketing and communications efforts. Thank you to Jessica and Jennifer and all of their team. They have been a wonderful support this year for us. This year, 2020, saw increased partner assistance as all of us have been challenged on so many levels. The Children's Hunger Project began our pandemic plan with the goal to feed as many children as we possibly could, and then Keith left. During the early days of the pandemic, children were remote learning. Many families faced the challenge of job disruptions and losses. The demand increased overnight and changed weekly. We stood alongside Brevard Public Schools as they began to distribute food to all children in need daily through mobile pickups at the schools and remote distribution. We had our volunteers picking up food packets every Friday from our office and heading out to every school location distributing our weekend food packets. We had thousands of packets being packed in people's homes so that we could keep up. Our weekly distribution of packets during that time went from 2,400 to almost 6,000 a week, and our food budget went from 9,000 to 23,000 weekly. While the Children's Hunger Project stepped up, so did our partners. We cannot thank enough the help that we received from Cisco sourcing food from all over to meet the increased need. Our friends at Community Foundation for Brevard, Space Coast Health Foundation, and the United Way developed the Brevard COVID-19 response to provide additional funding for those who are so in need. Thank you again, so many, for your continued support. So we're grateful also for our community leaders and elected officials for their support. And I'd like to introduce you to such a leader. Sheriff Ivey, are you here with us? Sheriff Ivey has been a regular attendee at our golf tournaments, and last year we were honored to be a beneficiary of his Haunted Jail Trail. We thank you so much, Sheriff Ivey, and welcome.
All right, so I know what everybody's wondering. Where's Junie? He's in the back. He's over there. We have to keep him away from the food. Still working on that part of his training, but I'm going to start out where I always do, and that is to say thank you for allowing me to serve as your sheriff. I love this job. I'm surrounded by an amazing, amazing team at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and we're surrounded by an amazing community. And that's what I'm here about tonight, to talk about just how amazing this community is, how amazing this organization, the Children's Hunger Project, is. You know, I was listening earlier as Bob was up here, and I was thinking about how he first forced me into helping the Children's Hunger Project. You can't tell him no. You never could. When I first met him, he told me all about the Hunger Project. How many children, and you know, I'm looking at the numbers up here on the board at the outreach of this organization. How many children go hungry? How many children go to school, and when they leave on Friday, it's their last meal till they get back to school? And I remember him talking with passion and him telling me all the great things that this organization does. So he told me to come down and volunteer to do packing. So I took our team down from the sheriff's office. We went down and we did packing. And I will tell you, I've never worked so hard in my life. They absolutely had a line going, a process line. And when I walked out the door, I had a much better understanding of just what it takes to make this organization what it is, of just what it takes to feed the hungry children in our community, the homeless children in our community, those that when they leave school don't have another meal until they come back. I watched this organization through COVID-19 as they adjusted, as they partnered with everyone else. And you know, you hear me say all the time that it takes a community to protect a community. And a lot of times when you say that, people think you're just talking about protecting their home from being broken into or protecting their car from being stolen. You know what? I'm talking about things just like this organization that's protecting some of our most vulnerable citizens, some of the kids that they help. You and I could never imagine. And I want you to humor me for a minute. I want you, regardless of if you're with us here tonight or you're watching on Zoom, I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And I just want you to imagine yourself first. How blessed we are. How blessed we are to not only not be hungry, but to have the many things in life that we enjoy. As you sit there and you think about yourself, whether it was at Thanksgiving or whether it was just at the meal we just had, now I want you to shift gears, and I want you to imagine that small child that when they close their eyes, they're trying to not think about being hungry. Imagine the small child that doesn't have the many blessings that we have. And so when people ask me why I support this organization so much, it's because of that. It's because of that thought. It's because I know that Brevard County is an amazing place, and that we not only give from the heart, but we work from the heart through volunteerism, through opening our wallets and being able to help organizations like this one. That's what makes us so special. When we close our eyes, we think about our blessings. When a hungry child closes their eyes, they think about their next meal. So tonight, I'm asking you to open your eyes. And I'm asking you to roll up your sleeves. And whenever you think you can't do anymore, whenever you think you can't give another dime to an organization to help, or you can't volunteer another hour, or you can't, from your company, give something else to help, I'm asking you to close your eyes and imagine being that child. Because that's the game changer for us. That's what makes the difference. To the amazing staff, the volunteers, so many volunteers that make this happen. To our county commission who sees the need, to all the businesses, I say thank you. I say thank you for caring about this community. You know, when you look at what we've gone through, nothing much different than what the rest of the country, the rest of the world has gone through since the COVID-19 pandemic. But if you really think about how Brevard County works, it's because of the partnerships that we just talked about. It's because of the friendships that we have. And it's because of the relationships. So we need to make sure that we continue to build those, to foster those relationships and partnerships and friendships. And then we channel all of that to making sure that one day when a child closes his eyes, They're not thinking about being hungry. They're thinking about how blessed they are, like we get to. That is why I'm here tonight. That's why I support the Children's Hunger Project. That's why I absolutely am amazed by everything this group does. So again, thank you not only for allowing me to serve as sheriff, but thank you for allowing me to be a part of something so great that takes care of so many. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you so much, Sheriff Ivey. That was beautiful. I have to wipe my tears because so inspirational. All right, the next gentleman I'd like to introduce is another wonderful leader of our county, Commissioner Brian Lober. Brian and his wife, Rebecca, have lived in Brevard County since 2011. Since adopting their one-eyed rescue dog, Winks, Brian and his family decided to make their forever home here in Brevard County. Brian is the only attorney serving on the Board of County Commissioners. He served as the 2016-17 president of the Brevard Bar Association, the youngest individual on record to have served in such a capacity in the organization's 64-plus year history. Commissioner Lober.
Thank you. Sheriff, can I get you to come up here for a second and help me out? Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
You just sat back down.
I'm sorry.
Get your steps. Come on, get your
Come on up.
steps in.
I need your help if you don't mind.
Up and down.
So, Sheriff, they asked me to read this today. This was a resolution that we passed recently at the December 8th Board of County Commissioners meeting. That's a lot of words. Basically says what you guys have already heard, that you guys do great work. You know that better than me just sitting here rattling that off could really convey. Can you hold that for me? I got it. I appreciate that, sir. So, while I was sitting here, I heard a few things that were interesting. I heard that your volume of service has multiplied since COVID struck. Obviously, that's something that really is putting folks in a bad position. So rather than me sitting rattling that off, I think as nice a gesture as that is on behalf of the county commission, we need to do a little more than that. Each of the 5 county commission districts was given $5 million to delegate largely as they saw fit within certain restrictions. I was sitting there next to Karen, going through my little packet here to see what was there, and they had a contribution sheet here, and they had some different options in terms of what you could contribute. And I've been trying to look to see what we can really do to effectuate some change in the county. Obviously, there are a lot of different organizations that compete for a limited pool of funding. The vast majority of them certainly are noble and worthy. They have great causes, whether it's housing folks, whether it's treating folks that have illnesses, whether it's getting folks reemployed or employed. There are a variety of them. But I think sharing a little bit of the funding with a group like this is a good step. And I know it's not going to cover by any means your operating costs or anything close to that. But out of the portion that was allocated to my district, I'd like to give you guys $40,000 to offset Y'all don't have to stand up. I already made the sheriff walk up here. He did all the exercise for you. It's all right. But to offset any sort of COVID-related costs that you all have, so whether it's increased service volume, whether you have to drive meals to folks that are doing the virtual school, whatever it may be, that's going to be made available starting in January. So I hope it helps you all at least a little bit, and I want to thank the sheriff as well for being my Vanna White over here. Thank you all.
Great job, Commissioner. Thank you, sir. Are you willing to give this?
Okay, that was a big surprise, and now I'm dabbing my eyes. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here. I really appreciate that. That was not the intention of tonight. Tonight was about thank yous, not about asks, but we appreciate it very, very much. To coin a phrase by our founder, Bob Barnes, the Children's Hunger Project has been guided by angels. And I know that Bob had mentioned a little bit earlier, one such angel is definitely a gentleman that has provided the safe haven and roof over our head for the past 5 years. We would be without a home if not for the generosity of Bruce Nelson Jr. and the entire Nelson family and our friends at their Hyundai dealerships here in Brevard County. Bruce could not be with us tonight. The family could not join us this evening because of COVID concerns, but I wanted to bring up Lorraine. Lorraine, are you out there still? Come on up here, honey. Lorraine is a person who, I believe, from what I have been told, if history serves me right, got Bruce Nelson to donate this building to us that we've had for the past 5 years. Are you crying too? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Us girls are so sappy. Anyway, we wanted to present the Bruce Nelson Jr. with a plaque tonight, so I'm going to give it to Lorraine instead, and I'll have you give it to him. So it says, with sincere appreciation, Bruce Nelson Jr., for your support of Brevard County children through your donation of the Bruce Nelson Child Hunger Center. Wow. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. See, Brian, you made us all cry. Thank you. My contacts. We would not be here if not for the financial support of so many, and our children would be hungry on weekends. Thank you to everyone who has given to support our cause, whether it's $1 or $40,000. There are so many that have donated to us, and we cannot name you all. You know who you are, and we are so very thankful for each and every one of you. Since the beginning, Brevard's faith community has stood by us. St. John the Evangelist, for example, has hosted many events for us. 3 years of walkathons, where our little children of our parish were helping to fundraise by walking laps on the church property and enjoying a parish cookout afterwards. The past 3 years, we've had our 5,000 packing event right here in this hall, where hundreds of our parishioners have lined up on our assembly line to pack our packets. Father John Patrick has assembled a church team for the 3rd year in a row for our 5K, and I understand there's 15 runners this year to join us for our 5K. The generous support from the St. John community, Father Brad, Father John Patrick, is simply amazing. And there are so many churches that have adopted schools and helped us out, not only financially, but actually replicating what we do. They're on their own church properties, packing our food packets and delivering the food packages to their adopted schools. So I just want to mention a few of these. We have Trinity Lutheran Church in Titusville that provides the food for Coquina Elementary. Pastor Carl Lindsay up in Mims in Titusville that takes care of Mims and Pinewood Elementary schools. Brevard Christian Church in Merritt Island proudly supports, packs, and delivers food to Mila Elementary. Ascension Catholic Community, who has supported us from the beginning, has adopted Creel and Croton Elementary schools. Ascension packed and delivered food the entire time during the pandemic to the different schools for us. Thank you to Kathleen, who is here with us tonight, and for all you do for our kids. The Ascension community is so generous to us. Yet another church has been tremendous to us, and an inspiration is Georgiana on Merritt Island. It's a lovely historical church. If you've never been there, it's beautiful. It's filled with lovely people. Pastor Corky Calhoun and missions pastor Chris Rodriguez could not be here with us tonight, but they send along a message to us all. They too have been packing the entire time during the pandemic and delivering food to schools. They support Cambridge as well as some other schools. Do we have the video ready, Gavin?
Say the word and there is light. Say the word and their bones rise. Every star and then hangs on your voice. For your word never returns void. Written in the alien skies, speaking to this heart of mine. All the end with all creation, hanging on every word that you've spoken, and it will not be shaken. Clinging for love to all your promise, hanging on every word that you say.
Hello, I'm Corky Calhoun, Senior Pastor of Georgiana Community Church here on Merritt Island. It's such an honor and privilege for me to be able to be with you tonight and to celebrate the anniversary of Children's Hunger Project. Our church has been blessed over many, many years to be a part of the great victories that Children's Hunger Project has had in our community. To see it go from a small, literally community outreach organization into something that now is feeding thousands and thousands of children. Just this past year, Georgiana has been blessed to not only support the ministry with packing and delivering of meals every week, but also financially to support the purchase of meals. We count it a tremendous honor to be a part of this great ministry to our community. One of the things that I've said every year that I've spoken at Children's Hunger Project Luncheon is that this issue of hungry children in our community is literally the most solvable problem we have. Literally, it could be erased overnight if the community got together and said it's unacceptable to have hungry children in our community. So we want to challenge you all tonight. You're here, you already love kids, but maybe the challenge is for you to challenge the business next door or your neighbor next door to be involved and to be a part of that. Again, I think if the largest corporations in Brevard, if 100 churches got together and said this is inexcusable to have hungry children, then we could solve this problem in our community. So I challenge you to be a part of that. One of the things we say at Georgiana all the time is we do for one what we wish we could do for everyone. And so that's our challenge to you tonight. So happy anniversary, Children's Hunger Project. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of such a great blessing in our community. Have a great night.
Thank you so very much to our wonderful faith community and all of their support. There are so many more than these few that we have mentioned. On behalf of the children of Brevard that we serve, thank you so much. The backbone, cornerstone, and heart of our organization is the hundreds, no thousands, of volunteers that have graced us. All of our food is packed by volunteers. All of our food is delivered by volunteers. If not for our volunteers, we would not be able to accomplish our task. In the early days of the pandemic, for example, we had volunteers packing and distributing 56,000 food packages in April and May. This took 1,100 volunteers and over 3,500 volunteer hours. Our volunteers are second to none. They are always up to the challenge, whether it be packing, delivering food, doing office work, or even painting our building. I would be remiss, though, if I did not point out one volunteer in particular. Ms. Sherry Burklew is our media coordinator. She is responsible for our social media, our website. She creates all of our newsletters, loves to hear about all of our good news stories and reports on all of them. She thankfully keeps all of our pictures organized, thus this beautiful slideshow this evening. She created this, and it took her hours, and I know. She's not here with us tonight in person, but I know she's out there watching. Woohoo! Listen to that. I cannot thank you enough, Sherry, for all that you do. We love you. Thank you. As far as volunteers go, recently, we've lost two of our wonderful volunteers who were so very, very passionate about the Children's Hunger Project. Rest in peace, Tom Schwartz and Gio Roper. Gratitude is just not saying thank you. It's that warm, fuzzy feeling that goes along with the appreciation that you have for those that you are thanking. Our volunteers pour so much love into the Children's Hunger Project. It is truly a gift to be part of such an awesome cause and surrounded by so many wonderful people. So thank you to all of our volunteers. I'd like to introduce you to one of our volunteers, but not only is he a volunteer, he is also our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mark Mullins. Please, come on up.
What a great evening. Wow. It's a privilege to be a part of this 10 years later. I've contemplated what to share with you tonight, and at the sacrifice of potentially giving some confessions of a superintendent, I'm going to tell you about my early introduction to the Children's Hunger Project literally 10 years ago. Because you see, I was the area superintendent here, blessed in Brevard, grown up through our school as a teacher and administrator, and I was a young area superintendent in charge of the schools in the south part of Brevard. And one of my principals, Linda Piccolella, you've heard referenced one of our elementary schools, and no one has said which one it was, so I hope it's okay if I do, Bob, but Riviera Elementary School. Linda had been the principal there for years. She called me one afternoon and she said, Dr. Mullins, I really would like to invite you to come to our school in a couple weeks. We have a community member who wants to feed kids on the weekend. And we're going to launch this project at our school. And I said, okay, sure, I'll come. But I responded with, admittedly, some skepticism. And I wondered and I contemplated on, wow, I was no stranger to the need of kids who are hungry across our schools, as our principals and our teachers see it all too often. And I thought, gosh, I hope this isn't another well-intentioned individual who is going to give some kids some hope, and then it's going to fall on the schools to follow through and be there for the kids. So I went to this event on I believe it was a Thursday afternoon in anticipation of providing meals on Friday. And I was introduced to a gentleman who exuded enthusiasm and confidence and vision and determination. And I'll do my best to describe his business plan, his business model to you. See if I get it right. Now you see, Mark, it's like this. We see a hungry kid, we feed a hungry kid. That's it. And little did I know that a man with that kind of determination, that kind of persistence, that kind of commitment would see the difference in starting with 27. And we'd be here 10 years later feeding thousands. Because the stories are real, and I would challenge you and those who are watching, if you're wondering about the lives that Children's Hunger Project is touching, call a principal in any one of those schools. And you will hear about the stories I've heard of. I remember the story of Nathaniel, 5-year-old, kindergarten, who on a Friday morning gave his principal a high five on the way into school and said, "Today's backpack meal day." Because the impact wasn't just he was going to go home with the security of food over the weekend. He was coming to school without the distraction of wondering what the weekend was going to bring. And his teacher could be assured that she could inspire him to be focused on reading, not distracted by what's going to happen over the weekend and what am I going to have to eat. And another story about Sarah, a fifth grader with a younger brother in second grade who was faced with having to transfer schools. We experienced that across our schools. Kids have to transfer. She and her little brother were part of the Children's Hunger Project program at their school, and they were going to have to transfer. And the first thing she asked is, do they have the backpack food program at our new school? And they didn't. Principal called me, still as area superintendent. I know you have a relationship with Mr. Barnes. Can you call him and see if we can get the kids' new school on board? And all I had to do was make a phone call. Mark, if you'll let us get into the school, we'll get them the food. And little Sarah and her brother were able to go to their new school and have meals on the weekend. We've talked tonight about angels who have ordained appointments and investments and contributions. But I would suggest, as you're part of Children's Hunger Project tonight, you are in fact, even unknown, a guardian angel to the Nathaniels and the Sarahs and the thousands of kids that Children's Hunger Project brings confidence to every Friday, that they're going to be able to go home and not worry about having food. My skepticism 10 years ago has grown into an enormous confidence as I've had the privilege as superintendent to travel not just South Brevard, but from Micco to Mims, and see the impact that Children's Hunger Project has made in the lives of the kids across our great, great county. And it is that skepticism turned as a result of one man's vision and an entire community's commitment to take care of Brevard. And if you've been a part of other conversations I've had, you've heard me say before, over the last couple years, we live in an amazing place, a gracious and generous community that never ceases to demonstrate that Brevard takes care of Brevard. On behalf of the 75,000 children who come to our schools every day, some of them remotely right now, thank you for being a guardian angel. For the thousands that count on us, count on you to bring hope, assurance, and confidence to their lives as we strive to inspire them to be the next Brevard that takes care of future Brevard. Thank you for being a partner with Children's Hunger Project, and thank you for being guardian angels for the little lives across our great district.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mullins. And thank you to all of the Brevard Public School Board. We really appreciate. Yes, there are difficult times. There's also hope and amazing things that happen in the walls of the Children's Hunger Project. One afternoon this summer, a couple walked through our doors. This couple had started donating $500 a month to the Children's Hunger Project when they heard about our efforts early on during the pandemic. It was wonderful to put faces to the names of such generosity and a relationship formed. This couple then decided that they wanted to offer financial assistance to help a local family in need. They wanted to be anonymous, and they came to us to find one such family. I reached out to our next guest because I knew she could help. After speaking to this teacher, a family was identified. A single mom had shown up in the guidance counselor's office crying because she and her children would be losing their home because the owner of the home that they were renting decided to sell their home. This is a good mom. She works full-time. She takes care of her kids. She was asking where she could legally park her vehicle where they would be living until she could save up first month, last month, and security deposit, totaling about $3,600. She had a very specific plan in place to save and would just need to live in her car for a month or two with her children. Imagine that. Again, we've been guided by angels. And this wonderful anonymous donor came through with the $2,400 that this mom needed to be able to move into a new home immediately. This teacher that I'm about to introduce went above and beyond to assist this mom and to make our anonymous donor aware of her story. And we're happy to say that this family is now enjoying the holiday season in their new home and not in a car. This teacher is amazing. She is a teacher of gifted students, partners in education coordinator, coach of Special Olympics. Please welcome Barbie Miller from Palm Bay Elementary School.
As Cheryl said, I'm Barbie Miller, and I teach at Palm Bay Elementary. March 13th, 2020 is a milestone day in my life. I remember it clearly. March 13th was a Friday. It was our last day of classes before the start of our spring vacation. I left school a bit early that day because my husband and I were going to drive to the Panhandle to deliver school supplies to another school by our same name that had impacted greatly during the recent hurricanes. I hosted our STEM Girls program that morning, as I did one Friday each month last year. Only this time, our group had no professional female mentors from L3 Harris Corporation, because the day prior, the employees were told they could not volunteer. That same afternoon, I was to host a photographer who was presenting an exhibit to our fifth graders about Antarctica. The speaker was to fly in from Jamaica that morning and head right to our school. She canceled earlier that week, believing it wasn't safe for her to depart one country, land in another, and come right to a school full of children. I hurriedly left school in a scramble that day, but not before delivering meal packs to our students on the Children's Hunger Project list. I knew our kids would have a long week at home before returning to school after vacation. I remember telling my husband about our hectic last-minute schedule changes as we drove across the state with a car full of gifts on our way to the other Palm Bay Elementary located in Pensacola. It was still daylight when I received the first text from a colleague stating that Brevard Public Schools would remain closed an additional week after spring vacation. Even then, I didn't realize the speed at which our world was changing around us. The gravity of schools closing for an extra week hit our students' parents quickly. Who would take care of the kids while they went to work? What would they do to feed their kids? Parents had planned for the 1 week of vacation, but not the emergency second week, nor the third, or the fourth, or the fifth. The Children's Hunger Project immediately snapped into action. I remember being contacted about coordinating meal pack distribution to happen on the Friday of the first week of emergency closure. Of course, Palm Bay Elementary would find a way to disseminate the meal packs. I assembled my team and we began calling families. Every family on our Children's Hunger Project list was contacted, and every family gratefully agreed to pick up meals for their kids that Friday. The week wasn't even over when schools were closed longer. Parents continued to wonder, who would take care of the kids while they went to work? What would they do to feed their kids? The Children's Hunger Project stepped up. The Children's Hunger Project committed to serving meal packs every Friday during school closure. So my team stepped up too. Every Thursday, my husband would collect the meal packs from the facility in Cocoa, and every Friday, my colleagues who are friends would meet me at school to distribute the meal packs. This went on for 24 weeks. The Children's Hunger Project was literally a lifeline for families from March through August when schools finally reopened. I've been proud to teach at the same school in Brevard County for nearly 25 years. In addition to teaching, I'm the community liaison and the Partners in Education coordinator for my school. These roles brought me in contact with the Children's Hunger Project 9 years ago. I just shared a story we all know too well, the story of 2020. But the Children's Hunger Project was an integral part of our school culture before March 13th of last year, and it continues to be a lifeline today. I'm quite proud of the organizational system we have in our school. We have the process of distributing meal packs down to a science that works. The meal packs are delivered once a week. Our school security specialist meets the truck on our lot where the meals are unloaded and then brought into the building. On Friday, the meals go home. Each week, 110 of them. I've enlisted a team to help with this task. 8 staff members are each assigned to one grade level. That person collects their meal pack allotment and delivers to the recipients. The children are called one at a time to our back pods where the staff member can hold a quiet, private, one-on-one check-in. Our entire staff knows they may nominate a child at any time, and one child recommended from a household means all children in the household join the list. Some children ask to be added to the list. When I was asked to speak tonight, I reached out to a few colleagues for stories to share. Some of their replies were exactly the stories I was hoping they would tell. One young man with special needs loves the weekend, and he counts down the days until Friday each week. When the meal packs come on Friday, he gets so excited and starts yelling, "It's the weekend!" He checks his backpack several times during the day to make sure the meal pack is still in there. Each time he repeats, "It's the weekend!" My second story isn't quite so fun. One teacher replied, "Those meal packs saved one of my kids' lives last year from a very abusive home." I spoke to this teacher to learn more. She shared the story of a young girl who didn't come to school for nearly 2 weeks. When she returned, she was coming to school hungry and withdrawn. The teacher noticed she was stashing food from her cafeteria lunch in her backpack to bring home. The teacher was able to send home a secret meal pack in the child's backpack each day until the situation was resolved. When my mom and dad were little kids in New York and New Jersey, they were given an extended school lunch period so all of the children could go home and eat lunch that their mothers prepared. Today's school is so much more than a place to learn. Teachers are counselors, therapists, nurses, coaches, dietitians, cheerleaders, social workers. Our kids need more than an education. They need to feel safe and loved and cared for. They need to be fed. The Children's Hunger Project fills the void between Friday afternoon and Monday morning. I am honored to represent the hundreds of teachers and staff members in Brevard Public Schools who are part of this program. I am one teacher from one school representing hundreds of teachers and hundreds of kids. I am honored to have the Children's Hunger Project be a partner in education to our school. On behalf of Palm Bay Elementary, thank you. If you are listening tonight, I know you have a role in the success of the mission of the Children's Hunger Project. I'm a small spoke in the Children's Hunger Project wheel, and each of you is a part of the same wheel, because we all realize it takes a village to raise our kids. This program is a 10-year success story. Congratulations. 10 years of anything is impressive. 10 years of feeding Brevard's hungry children is immeasurable. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbie. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. As Barbie said, she is just one of the many amazing teachers that we have in Brevard County. We would have loved to have every single teacher here with us, but Barbie did a wonderful representation for all of them. We do have another individual from one of our schools with us, Dr. Cynthia Dokes from Endeavor. So thank you, Cynthia, for being here with us. We really appreciate it. Endeavor is a wonderful school. Something that makes, before I say that, we have another volunteer that I'd like to call up here, a gentleman who has been part of the Children's Hunger Project from the beginning. Sean, do you have a few things to say? Share your history with us.
Hi, all. So my name is Sean Phelan, and I was not prepared to speak before I got here. So this is effectively a cocktail napkin with what I'm going to say. I've been a guy behind the scenes since before the first kid was ever fed. And for almost all of you, it's the first time you've ever seen me. I'm the nerd who knows how to talk, and I have been in web development and technology since I came out of college, and I ran a web development business for almost 20 years before I switched over to Harris back in 2016. But back in 2010, when I was a guy with a backpack and a laptop, and I would float around cafes and restaurants and coffee shops with Wi-Fi in between meeting clients, I hear this guy in the other room in a cafe that has kind of two wings, and he's pitching feeding kids. It's the first time he had ever spoken. He was talking to a Kiwanis Club breakfast meeting, and I'm listening to it while I'm working. And some kind of smug guy starts challenging him about how you should teach a kid to fish. Don't give him a fish. But these are kids, so this guy doesn't get that. And Bob, this gentleman I meet later, rather handily handles that objection in a way that was much more eloquently than I could have. He said, look, I got blinders on. I see a kid, I'm going to feed him. That's all I know. So afterwards, I went to talk to him. I said, I love how you handled that, and we stayed in touch. I said, I'm a web guy, let me know. They had someone helping them with the website, friend of a friend, didn't work out. I get a call from him a couple months later, not long. I'm in a bind. Central Florida News 13 is going to run a special on us. It's coming out Friday. We don't have a website. I said, all right, can you meet me at Panera at 7:30 in the morning tomorrow? He said, yes. So he gets there, and I say, here's the deal, Bob. We're going to send you away from here this morning with the website. He looks at me like I got two heads. It's like, how's that possible? He says, we're going to go inside, we're going to do this. So we go inside, we rapidly build one, because, I kind of know how to do that. And I said, we're not going to do any design. We picked a color, we picked green. He didn't have a logo yet. I said, we made a bunch of empty pages with nothing in it. I said, you're going to go home. Here's how you type in words. Type in what you need to type in. Meet you back here in a week. He does it. They're live. A week later, we come back. We turn on formatting, because I set up where you couldn't even do bold. Just put words in. Don't worry about the rest. Comes back in a week. We turn it on so you can do formatting. And he's pretty much a one-man shop. And what I said to him is, I will help you any way I can, but don't ask me to be the secretary on this. As long as you're able to do it, type it in, I'll take care of it for you. So I'm going to teach you how to do it. And so he'd sit with me. This is a guy who's already 70 plus at this point. Bob is fearless. And so we'd sit together and take the video, and I would record on the screen what I was teaching him, and then I would send him the videos. He'd go home, he'd work on it. Come back a couple days later, a week later, with more questions, I'd teach him some more. So Bob came at this with, in addition to the fierceness that you all know, the detail of every single person who donated would get a thank you email. And back then it wasn't automated, so it was being handwritten. Every single event, no matter how small it was, if it was a book club or if it was something bigger, every single event got an article on the website as one page. And he did all of that because there was no one else to do it. After a while, he comes to me, he's like, Sean, I can't do this anymore. I'm too busy, I'm suffering with this, what do I do? And I said, well, I had an assistant who worked for me at the time with my business. Her name was Cheryl, different Cheryl. Her name was Serafini, one of the early moms babying this little toddler of the project as it grew. And I had trained her how to take care of my clients. I said, reach out to her, figure out what you want to pay her, leave me out of it. So Cheryl helped for a while, took the load off, it went great. Then Cheryl left town to go with her daughter somewhere else, so she kind of fell off. And then Bob comes back to me, well, what do I do now? I said, well, as it happens, I used to do the work for the BCA website, and I trained one of their employees to take care of their content. And then unfortunately, she was no longer working with them. So that was Sherry Berklew. So then we bring Sherry in, and Sherry's been there ever since as well. It's really been great watching this all go through for literally from 2010 to now. In 2016, when I finally got the job at Harris, at this point we had said goodbye to Bob. He had retired. We found Keith. Keith really brought in helped kind of polish it and kind of make we got past the birthing of this. Now let's make it live forever. And Keith did a great job of kind of taking those steps. And then finally there was money to actually pay for a website. I did all this pro bono, so I never took a dime. And so they got Rock Paper Simple in. Now you have the beautiful elegance that you have now, which is going to do just fine for them. And we got to work on, I got to take a moment too, real quick, just to remember Gio. So Gio was a good friend. He was a good friend of the project. He was a good friend of mine. Him and I worked together on the 5K. The first time that the Hunger Project 5K happened, we did a website for them as well. We're all kind of surprised to see him go, and we're going to remember him. And so moving forward, things are starting to move pretty smooth, and then we come into this year, and so Keith moves along, and then they bring Cheryl up from within the ranks, which I thought was awesome. They did no search committees. We local talent, and we spot it and we use it. And that's kind of been the story of this whole project. It's been you find the talent and you use it. It's almost as much of a slogan as you find a kid and feed him. It really is. And so then when Cheryl came in, she left the hole where she did, and so now we need a new volunteer coordinator. And I happened to have a friend who was just graduating from UCF who wanted to get into this field, and Stacy Benezra also came in by my recommendation. So I've kind of been the person behind the scenes finding people and connecting them and feeding them in here this whole time. I'm a nerd who knows how to talk to people, and yeah, I can build a website, but that's not really that important here. And more importantly is I get to celebrate this now. So the last thing I'm going to say before I get out of here is, so we've heard some people talking about 2020 and COVID and how much this project has had to step up. The reason it was able to do that is because for 10 years it's been training for this year. Y'all have been prepping for this, building on this. Everything that's happened has gotten us to this point, and so y'all got this, which is very clear at this point. The last thing I'll say is I always go back to that day when Bob was talking to the first group and that guy who talks about teaching a kid to fish. I was like, great, have fun with that. So I come from a technology background. We're used to things like Silicon Valley and startups and funding and investors and Facebook and all of that. One of the things that we know is if you're going to build something, you need an investor. If you have a company, you need some kind of seed money, either yours or someone else's. So these kids, the question I always ask to those skeptics is, before you start criticizing anybody, these kids, they're first of all like kids. I don't even know why we're talking about this, but think about who invested in you when you were little. The parents, the neighbors, the churches, the schools, whoever it was. You are here because of that investment in you. These kids need investment. It's kind of surprising that it's as basic as food, but that's where it starts. Love being here. Love what you guys do. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Sean. That was awesome. Thank you. Something that makes my heart soar is to see children helping other children. From birthday parties to bake sales to lemonade stands to jewelry making to book reading fundraisers school clubs. It is amazing to see what happens when a child realizes that another child doesn't have food and decides that they want to help. These kids are not waiting to grow up to make a difference, says Barbara Wilcox of Tropical Elementary. Her kindergarten class decided for World Kindness Day that they would have a Feed a Child reading fundraiser, and that the children would read books and earn money for every book that they read. And in turn, they would donate that money to help feed our kids. With an emphasis on kids helping kids, the Edgewood Junior Senior High Children's Hunger Project Club is in their 3rd year. They organize events, conduct fundraisers, and create youthful awareness about trying to solve the problem of child hunger in Brevard. Please watch our video and learn about these awesome children. They are truly amazing.
I decided to start this club after going to a Hunger Project packing event and learning about the over 3,000 children in Brevard County who may not have any food at all over the weekends. For these children, their free and reduced lunch on Fridays is often their last meal until free breakfast on Mondays, and I wanted to see how I and our school as a whole could help.
The fact that there are over 3,000 kids starving in Brevard County, it really gives me the motivation to go out and help those kids. And this opportunity, this leadership opportunity, gives me a chance to really put these two positive ends together.
In this club, we could help all of those kids who are less fortunate and don't have everything.
I wanted to join this club because of all of the amazing volunteer and leadership opportunities that we're given, and I also want to make a big impact in the community by raising as much money as we can to feed all of the hungry children in Brevard County.
Hi, I'm Ella, and my shirt says I fed a hungry kid. And that's what I'm going to do. And I am not doing anything until I get 10,080 million of those bags packed with food in those bags, packed in boxes in those boxes, packed in trucks and those trucks delivered to kids. Whew, that's a lot of packing, but still, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure they get it all right. Oh yeah, they're gonna get some yummy food and have a smile on their face. Alright, I have a little smiley on my face. First of all, I started making bracelets for my dolls and my stuffed animals. Teeny tiny Barbies. And then more people wanted bracelets, so we just decided that we should make a business. We give money back from the bracelets that we make. And I liked packing food a lot, so every week we came back and we packed some food. The Children's Hunger Project is important to me because any children that doesn't have enough money to buy food, I want them to have a happy life and take care of themselves.
Lift it up, 1, 2, 3, good. Looks great.
Yeah.
Wow, this looks amazing. Can I help you make a few?
Sure.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Derek. Nice to meet you. So how long have you been doing this?
2 years.
2 years. So you're an expert.
Yes.
Can you do one with my name?
Sure.
D-E-R-E-K?
D-R-E-K.
D-E-R-E-K.
D-E-R-E-K?
Yes. What's the ultimate dream for your business?
I really wish I had more bracelets to make every single day.
What do you do with the money?
We have this hunger project that I give back to the kids that don't have enough money to buy food.
So the more bracelets you make, the more money you raise, and then the more kids you can help out. How long have you had this dream?
10 years.
So you're 6 years old and you had the dream for 10 years. That's pretty good. That's someone that knows what they want to do in life.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what do you think about this?
Ooh.
Pretty good?
Yep.
Okay. Really nice to meet you. And you have some customers here waiting for you.
So we have some very special guests here today that did a fundraiser for us. Can you tell us your name?
I'm Kate Christensen.
And what did you do for your fundraiser?
I raised $300 with a bake sale.
That is awesome. Can you tell me why you decided to do a fundraiser for the Children's Hunger Project?
I just think it's terrible how some children live without this food, which you pretty much need to survive.
Okay, well, we appreciate you guys coming in today, and we appreciate the hard work that you've done with your bake sale. And I'm sure that everything you made was delicious. And the children that are going to get the packages because of your hard work, I'm sure that they appreciate you too. So thank you very much.
Today we're going to be at the Children's Hunger Project and you're going to see how we're going to package food for children so that they can eat meals on the weekends when they're not at school.
Shout out to Ms. Wilcox, Tropical Elementary, kindergarten and TK class for Feed a Child Reading fundraiser for World Kindness Day. You're all superheroes.
Hey y'all, Cheryl here from the Children's Hunger Project with our Fun Friday volunteer crew. We just wanted to give a shout out to Health First, who has donated over 4,000 masks for our kids so we can pack them in our kids' bags for them. So, what do we say, Health First? Thank you.
That's the 300 dance.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you so much to all of those children for giving back and loving on other children. I personally want to thank the 3 gentlemen that had the position I now have before me, David Cohen, Larry Chacha, and Summit Shaw. Thank the staff. Thank you to our chef and bartender of the evening, Mike and Kurt. Thank you guys so much. And to each of you, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for loving our kids, and thank you for giving back. Please stay, mingle safely and responsibly, have some food, have some drinks, and good night.